Detective Comics and Batman and Bane and Knightfall especially. I have to ask, because that was early, was that 93, 94, right? When that came out? 93. So that was the early 90s, and I was a wee lad back then. And I want to know what that reception was like, because we know how it is now, especially with this whole Dark Knight trilogy and how it was a new craze, Bane becoming a new craze. But at the time, how was that general reception with Knightfall and it being such a massive story? What was it like back in the Gap?
It was huge. It was unprecedented. It was a very heady time in comics. It was somewhat inflated because you had speculator dollars coming in with the death of Superman and with the Knightfall storyline. You had a lot of dollars coming into the business that weren't necessarily readers of the books. So that inflated print runs, but money's money.
Yeah.
And the retailers were doing well, the publishers were doing well, and as a result, the creatives were doing well because the royalties were rock solid on those books.
Makes sense. Yeah, it's interesting because I know really everything that I got from it. Like I was a wee lad, so it was more so going into the mid to the latter half of the 90s when I was really getting into this stuff. So it was one of those things that I had to kind of experience in retrospect. So it's cool to hear those stories that we know were massive. Some of us didn't get to live through it. And again, it was a different era back then, right? It was the access to information was different. Even how we're releasing comics has gone through some massive changes. So it's cool to hear how it went down during the time, right, and how massive that was. We all know that, of course, in retrospect, that Knightfall was huge. So I wanted to hear from the man himself, like what that experience was during that time, because I know that was good for you. So outside,
there's a zeitgeist that hits every once in a while.
Yeah,
and that was the period when it definitely hit. Because what's interesting, and a lot of people don't know this, is that the various offices, you had your Superman office and your Batman office, and they weren't in touch with each other about what they were doing. So the Superman office didn't know we were going to be breaking Batman's back, and the Batman office did not know they were planning on killing Superman.
Oh wow!
Similar storylines in that you're taking your main hero out and replacing him with something new. And the reason that we did those things were different for each camp. The Superman camp had one reason, the Batman camp had a very different reason for doing it. But it's interesting to note that they came together with the same type of idea independently of one another.
That's crazy.